As you may be aware, even though room objects are considered model elements in Revit, they don't always behave exactly like other model elements, and phasing is no exception. So in this movie, I'd like to look at some of the special behaviors that room elements have with respect to the phasing properties. So I'm in a file here called Phasing Rooms, and the first thing I want to address is actually a special behavior on how copying works with phasing, and we're going to tie that into how we're going to manage our rooms in just a moment. So let's say, for example, that I selected this wall right here, and let's look at its properties, and we could see that it's currently an existing phase wall. And let's say that I copy that wall. Now, I can use the Copy tool on the Modify tab, or I could use Copy and Paste. It really wouldn't make a difference. In both cases, what you'll notice is that both of the new walls seem to have ignored the phase of the current wall. So this one was existing, but each of these, as you can see, has inherited phase 2 new, which is the phase that's assigned to this view. So it's very important that you realize that whenever you copy an element in Revit, it will always take on the phase of the active view, regardless of what it was set to before. Now, you may be saying, well, that's interesting, but what does that have to do with rooms? Well, let's move to another view, and we'll talk about rooms now a little bit. So let's go to under Existing here, the Level 1 Existing Floor Plan. And you can see here that I have a couple rooms. We've got existing to remain here, existing to demo here, and this one over here that I've called existing to merge. Now, I put a room separation line between these two rooms here. So this is one big open space, but we're treating it as two rooms. Now, if you select any one of these rooms and look at the properties on the Properties palette, what you'll notice is that like other model elements, they do have a phase, in this case, existing, but notice that unlike other model elements, it's grayed out. We can't change it. So rooms are special in this respect that there's no apparent way to actually change the phase of a room. The reason for this is, in Revit, rooms exist only in one phase. So in other words, the lifespan of a room is predefined by the software to be one phase only. So what that means is you need a whole new set of rooms for every phase. Now at first you go, wow, that seems kind of strange. Well, this is where we get back to that copying behavior that we just talked about a moment ago. So what I'm going to do here is go to the next phase, and I want to start considering what to do about the rooms there. So let's go to Level 1, Phase 1 Floor Plan. And I've already put in two of the rooms here. I've got this one and I've got this one. But over here in this space here, I don't have the room yet. So I want to add it there. Now, in addition to that, I no longer want this to be two separate rooms. I want to treat it as one big open room. So let's add that little wrinkle to this as well. How do we do that? Well, you might be tempted to just simply delete this room separation line. But of course, if you do that, it deletes everywhere in the model, which means you'd lose it in the existing construction as well. Well, I kind of threw this in here because I just wanted to point out that room separation lines, unlike rooms, do behave just like other model elements. So if you're not confused yet, that ought to tip you over the edge. But here we go. We've got our phases here, existing and demolished. And so the way that we remove a room separation line from consideration in the next phase is to demolish it, just like we would any other model element. So I'm going to demolish it in Phase 1, New Construction, and it will disappear from this view. But if I go back to Level 1, it's still here. So back here in Level 1, Phase 1, I now want to add the room. Now, you could certainly add the room with a whole new room here using the room command and place the room in the model. But it'll just have the generic name room and it would go to number 104. So let me undo that. What I want to do is tell Revit that it's actually this room here that I want to live on into the next phase. So I'm going to select both the room and the room tag and copy it. And this is where we can take advantage of the pasting taking on the current phase that we looked at a few moments ago. So when I paste this aligned to the current view, you're going to see that the name remains existing to remain, the number remains 101, but of course, because we've pasted it to a Phase 1 view, its phase, grayed out, is now Phase 1 New Construction. So when you need to manage the rooms in your models, you have to approach it slightly differently than the other elements. And so copy and paste becomes a really handy way that you can take existing rooms and reuse those in other phases. And so just to kind of reiterate that one more time, I can select all of these now and copy them, Control-C, go up to phase 2, paste align to current view, and you could see that all of these rooms take on the shapes of their new spaces. And look at the future to demo here. You see how it grew to fill in that new space? So this is one of the reasons why room objects only live for one phase, because you might radically change the shape of a room, and so the new room has to take on the new shape.